Welcome to the Buffalo Sports Conversation Room. I am your host, Jamie Malloy, and in this episode, we will be discussing everything football from many different points of views. As you can see this week, folks, yes, my co-host Joe is off this week, and I have some of my crazy friends and fellow co-workers who are tonight's talking football for many different perspectives. I will not bring them on and have them introduce themselves and the teams they like. First of all, I like to bring on a woman who needs no introduction. She's very talented at what she does and um, writes stories from a more historical, non-football, more exotic point of view. Without further ado, please welcome Miss Julie Miller. Let's bring her on. Hey, Julie, how's it going?
Hey, thank you for the high praise there. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm a bit more of a historical writer, and I do like to write about a lot of different sports from a true crime direction. Even right now, I'm writing about cockroach racing in Australia. So, there is no direction I will not go. I appreciate that. Visiting from the Tailgate Update podcast, and really excited to be with you, Jamie. I love your podcast, so thank you.
And I like yours too. You're welcome. I can kind of see what your team is in the background, but tell everybody, our nice audience here, who your favorite team is.
Well, you may be fooled into thinking that the Saints are my favorite team, and I don't know where you would get that impression, but I'm actually a huge Seahawks fan. It just so happens to be that I am using my boyfriend's desk, and he is a Saints fan, and so my Seahawk wall is over there, and you can have two different teams in one household. So I lived in New Orleans for almost 10 years, so I have tons of appreciation for the Saints, but I'm a Seahawks girl through and through.
That's awesome. Yeah. 12th man. Let's go, Hawks.
Let's go.
Anyway, then I will be bringing on my next guest. He is a guy who hails from suburban Chicago, Illinois, loves Illinois sports, the Chicago Bears, and the Illinois Fighting alumni who look to surprise again in the Big Ten this year, but is currently right now in Florida. Please welcome Mr. Caleb Horn. Let's bring him on. Hey, Caleb, how's it going?
Good, man. How are you? Thanks for having me on, man.
Yeah, so it's a pleasure to have you on too. So tell us which teams do you like? I think I kind of gave it away, but let's remind the audience again.
Yeah, huge Fighting Illini fan. Really like Texas Longhorns as well. And pretty much anything Chicago except the White Sox. I'm all board, so. Go Justin Fields. He's QB1. Going to be in MVP talks. We're ready for him, man. Finally got a quarterback.
Yep, yes, you do. And hopefully he lives up to the talk about being the second Bears passer to throw for 4,000 yards. I don't know if you heard about that. That was in a Fox Sports news article at the end of July last month. I saw it when I was in downtown Rochester. So,
Yeah, he'd actually be the first.
Oh, yeah, the first. My bad.
And we've also never had a quarterback.
That's my fault. He is going to be the first.
Even more embarrassing.
Anyway, and last but certainly not least, let's bring on the postman guy, the Mr. Football Knowledge guy, the Bee's Knees 97, Mr. Ryan Besaw, and let's bring him on, folks. Hey, Ryan, how's it going?
Hey, guys. Hey, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, and it's always a pleasure to have you on, and you're doing this from your phone tonight, correct? You already said that.
Yeah, I had a emergency situation, so I had to use my phone tonight.
Okay. So
You're
tell
gonna
us
have to forgive me if
who's your
I'm
favorite
shopping.
team?
We all know that Ryan is a
Um,
Rams fan,
I'm a
unfortunately.
huge LA Rams fan. Listen,
Yeah, you
Julie.
said I heard you. You said
I'm
the
a huge
Rams.
Rams
But
fan.
can
I've
you
been a
say it
Rams
again?
fan since I was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I'm a huge LA Rams fan.
what do you think of Stetson Bennett being the backup to Matthew Stafford? He's looked okay. The guy's got a really awesome deep ball. I saw him throw one in the preseason in week 1.
Sorry, Jamie, I didn't catch that. Sorry.
I was saying, what do you think of Stetson Bennett as the backup to Matthew Stafford? He's got a pretty good deep ball, but he's got other things to work on too as a rookie. What do you think of him?
His first two performances in preseason, I've been impressed. Sitting behind Stafford for however long Stafford's going to be there, whether it's a year or 2 years, maybe 3, I don't know. It's going to be great for Stetson no matter what. He's shown some pretty good accuracy with some of these throws. I saw a throw he made the other day with sidearm throw, and it was incredible going around a defender on the outside. It was pretty good. Showing off some pretty good arm strength too.
See, that's the one thing he brings that Matthew Stafford can't really bring. He brings the modern day dual threat running element, which is good. And he can throw the ball too, not just run. So
right, yeah. But don't be hating now though. Stafford's got some wheels.
He needs to slow his wheels down because he got
Used to.
scrambled like a dad egg last year. So it'd probably be good if he just kind of stayed in the pocket.
Listen, he might have some wheels. They might be flat, but I mean, he's
He
not
needs
gonna.
to, leave the wheels off the field, or he's gonna be off. Stetson Bennett is gonna be up if he tries to do too much.
Let's just
that's
hope.
why I brought them on, guys, to bring a little humor tonight to this podcast. So bring a little Tuesday late night comedy to this. So anyway, everyone. So now that everybody's introduced themselves, everybody's said their favorite team, it's time for our question of the week segment. I'll ask the question and give everybody a chance to answer. So here it goes. Who wants to go first?
Ryan wants to go first.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
What
Okay.
do I want to do?
He couldn't wait.
Okay, Ryan, here's the question. Can you guess who this retired NFL running back is by this bio? He ran for 81 rushing touchdowns, was on 5 different NFL teams, and had a total of 16,000 rushing yards. Is it Frank Gore, Antoine Smith, Adrian Peterson, or Curtis Martin? Again, this retired running back ran for 81 yards, touchdowns on the ground, was on 5 different NFL squads, and had a total of 1,600 yards on the ground. Is it Frank Gore, Smith, Adrian Peterson, or Curtis Martin?
Frank Gore.
You got it. 1 for 1. The correct answer is Frank Gore. Congratulations, Ryan. Claps for you.
Nice.
Right. Hey, you build me as the football knowledge guy. I mean, come on.
Yeah, that's true.
Couldn't get that wrong.
All right, next. Who wants to go next?
Oh,
Caleb does.
how about we just
Okay.
have one question? It's the question of the week, not questions.
Okay.
There's
All right.
3 of them. Come on, Julie.
I'll go.
Oh, okay. So,
Feed me.
all right. So, Julie, can you guess who this retired NFL running back is? I'm going to say it again. He ran for 81 rushing touchdowns, was on 5 different NFL teams, and had a total of 16,000 rushing yards. Is it Frank Gore, Antoine Smith, Adrian Peterson, or Curtis Martin?
The third one.
Nope, it was Frank Gore.
Wait, I thought you said, okay, first off, that was Ryan's question. I thought you said five instead of 9.
I just wanted to know if you were listening.
Yeah, I was listening, but I just
I just
needed
wanted to
to
know if you were
hear.
listening, so that's okay. Moving on. So last but not least, Caleb. Uh, guess this retired NFL wide receiver by his stats.
Oh.
He had 1,101 yard, 1,101 catches on 130 touchdowns on 3 teams. Is it Andre Reed, T.O., Chris Carter, or Randy Moss?
How many touchdowns? 130
Yeah,
and 11,000 yards.
on 3 different teams.
What were my choices?
Andre Reed, T.O., Chris Carter, or Randy Moss?
I'm gonna go Randy Moss. I think he only played for 3 teams.
No, Julie, what do you think?
Shit. Oh, I mean guard. Okay, can you run through the options one more time for me?
I certainly can. Is it Andre Reed, T.O., Chris Carter, or Randy Moss?
The third one again.
Yep, you got it. It was Chris Carter.
Yes!
I knew it wasn't T.O. He played for 4 teams.
Right. I did know that. I'm not really
Andre
a
Reed
pro
was a
memorization
pro.
stat person, but I beat you, Caleb, and that says something.
Yep, T.O. played for the 49ers, the Eagles, Cowboys, and the Bills for a year. So we're done. Anyway, we're done with the.
Didn't he
with
also play for
question of the-
Cincinnati?
Yeah, he's played for Cincy for a year with Ocho.
Oh yeah, so that's 5 technically.
Yeah.
Yep.
But anyway, now that we've gotten our question out of the week and everything, we're going to get to the exciting part, and let's actually start talking some football of this show. So let's start out with our first topic. So our first topic, is questionable quarterbacks leading into the 2023 season. Now, Caleb, I know that you are a Bears fan. What is your take on Justin Fields and Chicago passing up on Bryce Young in order to stick with Fields?
I love it. I think that they gave themselves a kind of an ability to hedge their bets by picking up they got 2 first-round draft picks next year. And you figure if Fields doesn't pan out this year, then they're likely picking top 5 again. Very much in the bill for Caleb Williams or any of these other, maybe Penix, any of these other guys coming out. But I think Fields is the guy. I don't really have a doubt in my mind that he is. It's kind of weird saying it as a Chicago fan. We've never really had a quarterback. Jay Cutler's pretty much our guy for the franchise records. So, I think it's the right move. And they definitely bringing in DJ Moore and able to draft that Darnell Wright out of Tennessee. I think it's going to pay dividends, and we're going to see what Justin Fields really is this year.
Yeah, the Bears have always been even back in the day. Like they did have Jim Miller, but Jim McMahon, but he was more of a game manager, and he was a product of probably one of the greatest defenses in NFL history. So even he wasn't really considered a franchise guy, but the Bears always known for that tough, stingy D. Okay,
Yeah.
so
And the Super Bowl shuffle.
Yep.
Super Bowl shuffle. Can't forget that.
One of the most epic songs of all time. I did do an article where I broke it down lyric by lyric. Chef's kiss of an article.
Okay, so now Julia Riot, do you have any thoughts on Justin Fields? What do you guys think?
I love Justin Fields. I think he should have gone sooner during the draft last year, and I think if they give him any help at all, that he'll really shine this year. He does have a lot of talent, and I look forward to seeing what he does. I'm a Justin Fields fan, whether he's on the Bears or not.
I would agree with that assessment. He did, like I said, I know it's very cliche because most of your modern day NFL quarterbacks that are younger now are like I said, are dual threats. I know I sound like a broken record when I say that, but hey, he's another one of your RPO type of run pass option. Able to take off with his legs very fast and does have a strong arm too, so it can make the hard throws, difficult throws. So
People realize how big he is. He's about 6'3", like 220, 225. He can
He's
take
huge.
he looks smaller than his stature, but he's actually bigger than what he looks on the field. They make him look like he's only 5'9", like Kyler Murray, but no, he's a big boy. So
He is.
and so Ryan, what do
That
you
was
think?
actually my initial opinion. Like you just said, they make him look like Kyler Murray. That was my initial opinion of him. I thought he was just a bigger Kyler Murray. Like Julie said, if they give him any shred of help, he might be better. I'm kind of on the fence with him right now. I'm indifferent. He's forced to run for his life, so you can't really see what he does. So
Yeah.
He did almost.
There's
Go ahead, and then
no.
I'll
I'm
get
just
my
saying.
point in.
There's not much he can do. There's not much he can live up to in terms of being that quarterback that the Bears have yearned for 30 years or more. I mean, like Caleb said, the last good quarterback they had was Jay Cutler, and that lasted for like a flash in the pan before Jay decided to say the hell with everybody and I don't care about football anymore. So Justin Fields, the bar is set low for him to be exceeding expectations for Bears fans, but at the same time, to the NFL world, he has a lot to prove. Just in the fact that he's a franchise quarterback.
And he did almost pull off that monumental upset against Philly last year when he ran for that 61-yard touchdown. So he did. That was like his probably, if you look back on this year, that you could point to that game and say that was the game that turned him into a franchise guy. And the fact, like I said, the team was really young last year too. Like a lot of he had a lot of like first and second year players around the offensive line and even in the skill positions and even their defense. Like at the end of the year, their entire secondary was all rookies starting. So that youth they got last year, even though they were 3-14, is all coming back this year, and they're a year older, so they should be much improved in terms of that aspect. So now Julie and Ryan, what do you think about the fact that or never mind, now we're moving on to Tampa Bay with Baker Mayfield, and who just was announced the starter for Tampa Bay over Anthony Richardson's predecessor in Florida, Mr. Kyle Trask, who's going to be the backup now. How do you think Baker Mayfield will do replacing Brady? And now keep in mind, this is kind of a transitional team. This is a team that's going from being old and running more of like a slow type of offense to more younger and raw talent and faster talent. I mean, they've got some good talent, but it's very young, and I think this is kind of a raw team that's gonna not have a lot of wins, but that young talent will grow at the end of the year, especially with former Syracuse alum Sean Tucker surprising as an undrafted free agent. So what are your guys' thoughts? We'll start with Ryan. Do you want to take this one first?
I'll gladly take this one first, Julie or Jamie. Excuse me. I think Baker has some big shoes to fill, obviously, and like you said, it's a transitional phase for Tampa. However, the division is still kind of meh. You know what I mean? What are the Saints looking like? What does Carolina look like with Bryce Young under center? You know, what does Atlanta look like? Not a lot, right? So Baker really with the shoes he has to fill of Brady, doesn't really have to do too much in order to get into the playoffs, in my opinion. But we're going to have to see how the offensive line holds up for him.
You mentioned Atlanta, Ryan, but I saw actually an NFC South prediction. They got the Falcons and Carolina going 7-10, but they got the Falcons winning the division at 7-10 because that division's pretty weak. And they got Tampa, I think, going 4-13 and 5-12, and the Saints, I think, they got going like 7-10 as well. But they have Derek Carr, so that's a little bit different. The other three teams have younger talent, but the Saints have more older, established talent, and the Saints have more pressure to win now than the Falcons and the Panthers and the Bucks do. That's the difference. So, and we're gonna get to that actually. That's gonna lead to my next point. But Caleb, do you want to go next?
Yeah, I think that Mayfield is definitely serviceable. I don't think he's going to blow anyone's doors off this year, but I definitely think that he's going to come in with a chip on his shoulder and try to show out that, hey, this is my job to win. And I think he'll take the reins. I mean, yeah, the South is weaker. I don't expect Carolina to do a lot, just given their offensive line situation. They're kind of weak skill position. Their defense is really good. The Saints, I think Derek Carr is very underrated. Once Kamara comes back week 4, I think they'll start cooking. But outside of that, Atlanta's offense will probably be pretty good. But I don't know. I imagine that 4-13 record will probably be pretty accurate. But who knows? Maybe they end up sharing 8 games each this year between him and Trask.
But like I said, 4-13 would be a starting point for this team because, like I said, it's a lot of good young players, but it's raw too. They're going to need some time to develop, and maybe they could add some like veterans on a 1-year deal to help tutor these young players as the season goes along. So,
yeah, I mean,
Julie, your thoughts?
They still got Godwin.
What'd you say?
They got Godwin and Evans, and I'm not. Sean Tucker, you said, is a running back probably this year. So, I mean, offensive line.
You mentioned Godwin, though, Caleb.
What?
Yeah, you just mentioned Godwin, though. Godwin seemed.
We're having some technical difficulties with Ryan, but he was talking about Godwin. And I think he's gonna say some positive things about him. Ryan, are you there?
Yeah. Sorry, like I said, I'm on my phone, so it's messing with me tonight. I was saying Chris Godwin. You mentioned him, Caleb, but he kind of looks like a shell of himself since he tore his ACL. He's not blowing anybody's doors off right now.
That reminds me of Allen Robinson when he first came to Chicago. His first year wasn't that great, and then the next year he took off. That first year after the ACL tear was pretty hard on him, and that second year he really blew up. So I expect kind of a similar turnaround. The target share should be pretty much between him and Evans this year, I'd imagine. So we'll see. I don't expect much out of Tampa at all.
I don't really know how Baker got. I always loved his commercials for one. So I've always thought Baker Mayfield was cool. He helped the Browns get to the postseason, which was a big deal for them. I don't know why he got this bad rap. I always appreciated that he had convictions and he stood by them. That's not something you see all the time, and some people seem to want to punish him for that. I think that's a commendable thing. He had a rough time in Carolina, but that team is like a quarterback chewer-upper. It takes quarterbacks and put them in a wood chipper. So I wasn't expecting a whole lot of that's not a reflection of really any quarterback skill ever. And then he did fine with the Rams. He transitioned really quickly there and did some great things. So I don't know why he's getting this bum rap. I'm not surprised that he's starting. I don't think that he's going to be the issue with Tampa Bay. I think And hopefully he stays healthy because we all saw their third stringer get carted away on a stretcher again, since that's the preseason thing now. So they only got Trask and Baker, so the pressure's on a little bit. But I see good things. I don't know why people are such a Baker hater.
Hey, like Taylor Swift says in Shake It Off, players going to play, and the haters going to hate. I had to throw in a Taylor Swift reference, guys, because she's absolutely killing it on her tour right now. But let's get back to sports.
Jamie is a Swiftie. So is Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Bill Belichick being a Swiftie, that's interesting. I mean, like, he's got more of a personality than like you think. Like he comes across as grumpy and everything, but I see him like behind closed doors, like, you know, like just being wild and like, you know, having parties and just like mingling with everybody. It's weird. Even though he's got this like this older like grandpa style, I think he's more hip and spry than people think. Belichick. So same thing with Nick Saban. He's pretty spry for his age too, and what he's done with Alabama. So, yeah. Anyway, it's now time to look at our Bay Area quarterbacks and the San Francisco 49ers. And Angela, if you're listening right now, hi. We're talking about your team right now. And for those who don't know, folks, Angela Miele is a very dear friend of ours who worked with us at Gridiron and is now working with me and Julie at Defiant Takes and everything. And she's a very talented writer too. So hi again, Angela. It's Jamie doing this podcast. We're talking about
your team. Fork ball with us too.
Does she really?
Yeah.
New development. I did not know that. She also works with Forkball with these guys, and they're verified, by the way. Go check out their account. They're verified on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call about. They got 4,000 followers, a podcast. Their content's really good too, and it's just nothing but sports and humor and things like that.
Check out
our
YouTube channel too. The Forkball.
Yep, where they have the podcast and everything.
The Forkball on YouTube. Check it out.
But I'm digressing. Let's get back to the San Francisco 49ers. Let's talk about Trey, give me one more Lance, and Brock sitting Purdy in the city. Anyway.
Oh, my gosh.
So
I'm
as of
leaving
now, they already named Purdy the day one starter. So, Julie, I'm going to start out with you. Do you think starting Purdy over Lance is a smart idea, or do you have a crystal ball type of Harry Potter explanation of why you think Trey should get one more Lance at the starting job?
Well, I do have a crystal ball, but I don't reserve it for the 49ers because they annoy me. As a Seahawks fan, there's nothing that annoys me more than the 49ers, and I'm already annoyed by even thinking about any of their
the wild card playoff game last year. That's why you're annoyed by them.
I mean, it's been that way for a long time, but so they can eat it. I don't really care who goes up. I hope that history repeats itself, and Brock Purdy is fine. Their offense is so easy that they can make any of the quarterbacks do it. So it really don't matter who's up, other than injuries, of course.
Exactly. Christian McCaffrey's the engine that goes in that offense, basically. And Kyle Shanahan's always been say what you want about him mismanaging the Super Bowl, the 28-3 job with the Falcons against the Patriots, but with San Francisco, he's always been known as a great offensive mind and a good play caller in spite of that.
And it's annoying. So they have some good talent. Yeah, I mean, I also like Trey Lance, whether he's a 49er or not, and I hope that he gets his chance because I don't think he really got one as a rookie. And I don't think he's been on the field enough for us to really know who he is. And so it would be great to see him. I mean, Mr. Irrelevant has a cool story and everything, but he's particularly annoying probably because of his story. So whoever they put out there, hopefully we beat.
And I don't have a crystal ball in front of me, but I think he may go to like maybe he would go to a young team that's like rebuilding with younger players. Like he could be like maybe he could go to Atlanta, God forbid something happens to Desmond Ritter, or go to Carolina, God forbid something happened to Bryce Young, or Arizona. Maybe Arizona would be a good place for him to go because Arizona's like they're in a total rebuild, and bringing a guy like him could probably make the team feel good and bring more positive vibes to a team that's probably not going to do anything this year, but in a couple years could be really good because they have a lot of young talent and they got some good spring football talent that they've signed too. So,
and then we'll know if he's good or if it was just because he's on Kyle Shanahan's offense.
Well, I think looking at him, he's another modern day run pass option, read option, he's basically a raw Russell Wilson. That's what you could call him basically to me.
Russell Wilson was like one of the first, certainly not the first, but in the sort of recent last 20 years, he was one of the first to like really create that dual threat situation, at least for like modern times. Like now all the young kids did it, but he was doing it before a lot of other players were. He's struggling now, but I mean he's 34 years old, and so like you can't run like you used to. But none of these young kids will be able to either when they're 34.
And the reason why the young kids can do it now is because they do it in college too. Like
that's true.
They run the no huddle, but they mix in RPO and things like that, and it translates to the NFL now. Like back in the day, they were running college offenses that didn't translate to the NFL, but now college is starting to turn more into a minor league of the NFL, and it's almost kind of like amateur version of spring football, if you want to call it like that.
People were critical of Russell Wilson, but he had a vision.
So Cam Newton was also another pioneer of the dual threat too.
Yeah, absolutely. Love those guys.
Anyway, let's move on. So after your thoughts, Caleb and Ryan, how do you think Brock Purdy will do now that the 15 minutes of Mr. Irrelevant fame have kind of gone with the wind in a year, and now he's just the guy in San Francisco in year 2? What's your thoughts?
It's always a little bit different. I think that him coming in for those last few games last year and setting the world on fire was easy to do because there's no expectations on him. Now you come into this season, you have a whole off season. He's trying to get healthy still, by the way. And now I'm the guy. The buck stops here, supposedly. So I think that's always a little bit different animal for a quarterback. I think he'll probably be okay, but I don't think it's going to look much like Lance may have a chance at another shot.
Now this is true, but long before podcasts and everything, and VHS and AOL ruled the world, people were also having these IM chats about another guy going into his second year after winning a Super Bowl by the Patriots by the name of Tom Brady, and there was a Jets fan there were Jets fans that actually at the time that when everybody thought that first Super Bowl was a fluke, like he wasn't Tom Brady yet. So in his second year, there was a Jets fan that actually said Tom Brady not a good quarterback at the time, because you got to remember that second year they went 9-7 and they missed the playoffs, and then they took off after that. So we'll see what happens with Brock Purdy in this situation in his
You heard it
second
here
year.
first.
And if his career turns out as long as Brady, but we'll see.
You
Brock
got
Purdy's
called
Tom
out,
Brady.
Caleb.
Huh?
You got called out.
I ain't get called out. I'm just that's a bold statement, Mr. Malloy.
Some historical comparisons, but yeah, bold.
I think that Purdy will be. I think he will be okay. I don't. I mean, what was he averaging? Like 300 some yards a game, and dude was lighting it up. So a lot of it will hinge on him being healthy at the beginning of the season. I don't think Shanahan is going to be one to have a quick trigger on him. So he'll give him his time.
No, he learned. He's like his old man. He learned from his old man how to coach. And Shanahan never really pulled the plug on any. His father never really pulled the plug on anybody either, even when they were struggling. But yeah. So let's move on to the Roaring Lions in Detroit, and with Jared Goff. Now, this is a team that probably in due time. I hate to tell you, Ryan, but I know you guys won the immediate trade with Detroit. You won the Super Bowl by giving up all your draft picks to get Matthew Stafford, and the Lions were 3-13 that first year, and you won the Super Bowl. But last year, the Lions ended up having a better record than the Rams. So I kind of want to start off with you. How do you think Detroit's going to do? Do you think they could win the NFC North Division now that Aaron Rodgers has left the building and is with the Jets?
Honestly, Jamie, I thought going into this year, even with Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay, I thought Detroit was going to win the division. When Jared Goff got traded, I was a little torn. You know, he's younger, Stafford's older. Kind of the same type of quarterback, and not very mobile, but mobile enough. But like you said, we won the immediate trade. I wouldn't trade it for the world. We dealt with injuries the year after winning a Super Bowl. Everybody does it. Now that Rodgers is gone, it's a given that Detroit's going to win that division in my eyes. I'm sure Caleb's not feeling the same way, but at the end of the day, I believe Detroit will win at least 10 games with Goff at quarterback.
I agree, and I think, and I know Caleb's obviously a Bears fan, but we know our friend here, he's a realist. So I'm gonna go over to the realist himself. Caleb, what do you realistically think about this?
Yeah,
your
no,
chances.
I think that Detroit's probably the most set up team right now to win. Jared Goff is the most proven quarterback. He's had just playoff runs. Pretty good too, but I don't know what they're doing at all. They're dumping guys. They're trying to get goal. They don't. Minnesota's out. Chicago, very young team still, unproven. Green Bay, huge question mark at quarterback for them. Defense is probably ready to go, but Love could end up being the guy, but who knows yet. So I think the Detroit's probably ready to go, man. I think that they're going to win it at 10, 11 wins. Why not?
I wonder who could be causing that quarterback controversy. Is it Alex Magoo people here? Because, like I said, everybody thought Jordan Love was going to be the incumbent starter, but I think Alex Magoo, being the former MVP, I think he's making a case to push for that starting job and say, hey, you might be a rookie, Jordan Love, and you might be the next in line, but I just won the USFL championship. I'm the first MVP quarterback in that league, says Jim Kelly. I got great hair, and I look like Trevor Lawrence out there when I'm practicing, and I want to be the guy.
You have a way with words, Jamie.
Dude.
Man, I almost wish you didn't pick Jared Goff as a I was just
You know,
saying, Jamie,
I
I almost
can't
wish you
talk
didn't
about-
pick Jared Goff because I knew it was going to lead into a. Go ahead, Julie. Go ahead.
Don't tell
think
Sam
about
Ryan
Goff
about Julie about ripping Goff. He loves Jared Goff. He's the Lions boy. Remember Sam?
Yeah, he is. You Lions fan.
He went on his podcast and he told everybody that Jared Goff was better than Josh Allen, but I'm not going to get into that.
Whoa.
That's for another day. That's for another day.
That's
Okay,
What?
I love Sam, but that's okay. We'll talk. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Let's say
Sam-
this so I can stay even keeled about that
Samuel.
statement. But I think that was a
Samuel,
smoke
what are
screen
you
when he
doing,
said
son?
that. It was
That's
kind of a
bait right
smoke
there.
screen.
That's bait.
Sorry, Sam. No offense. We love you, dude. You were awesome with Gridiron and everything. You helped us out with the USFL. We did a great job with that. And I hope you're listening because we were talking about Detroit. So I miss you, buddy.
Yeah, love you, Sam.
Yes.
Anyway, what do you guys think? Right. What do you think, Julie, about Mr. Jared Goff?
Every time I need a square jar for this. Every time I think about how McVay did him, it just makes me angry every single time. And I can't really express how I feel about it without having a very full swear jar. So I'll just say that McVay, he was an impolite person for how he did Goff. And so I've always had his back since then because the way that he handled that entire situation was so gross. I really hope that Goff does win, and I hope he beats the Rams, and I hope he makes McVay cry a little bit. I want to see an actual tear roll down his cheek because he needs to have some serious come to Jesus moments about how he handled that entire situation. I know it's been a few years, but I don't forget. So I'll just leave it there because I don't have my swear jar.
He's already had his come to Jesus moment, Julie.
And he needs a better one. That was a piss poor come to Jesus.
He's already.
Look, we need the firewood, drop your cross, okay? Because, that was the goal. So, no,
I wish he could have done it over.
Yeah, we all wish we could do it over after we do someone dirty, but that doesn't mean that we weren't an asshat.
That's true.
The important thing is that you acknowledge your actions.
No, Ryan. No.
Yes. You can't go through life doing something bad and then be like, oh, well, I got a ring out of it. I don't care.
McVay's, again, I don't have the jar, but so I'm on Goff's side, and I can't wait to see their team do well. The Lions have worked a long time to build up a good team, and they have an amazing coach, and I want to see them thrive and make the Rams cry.
Hard not to root for Dan Campbell.
Yes.
I rooted for him back in the day when he was a tight end for the Cowboys, and now I'm rooting for him as a head coach. So yeah, the NFL's better when the Bills in Detroit are relevant, kind of like the 90s when the Bills were going to the Super Bowl 4 straight years, and the Lions basically just rode the coattails of Barry Sanders and had no other players except for Scott Mitchell, but that was it. That's a throwback. I thought. Now, anyway, I asked my guests if there was anything that they wanted to talk about, wanted to discuss and preview the NFC and AFC East. Julie, what did you want to start out with?
That's actually Ryan's forte. It's his first
God.
love. So, you know what though? I'll just rate who I think is going to be where for them, and then I'll let y'all do more. So for the AFC East, I think it's going to be Bills, Dolphins, Jets, Patriots. Dolphins and Jets can go either way, like second or third, whatever. You know what I mean. And then for the NFC, I'm thinking Eagles, Cowboys, Giants, Commanders.
Okay, I think that's
Julie, did you read my notes or something?
Oh, please, you copied my notes.
Okay. Anyway, forget what.
Julie, I literally had that.
Forget what
written
they
down
said there, folks. We have a short memory with what they said there. Well, anyway, Ryan, go ahead. What are your predictions? Since Julie was trying to spill the tea there.
I did this myself.
My predictions for the AFC East. My predictions for the AFC East is pretty much everything Julie just said. So I have Buffalo going 12-5, Miami going 10-7, Jets going 10-7, and New England going 7-10.
Ooh, nice parody there. Now here's what I would actually have to say. I got the Jets going 10-7. Right, I think the Jets could win a lot of games, but guess what I think is going to happen? I think Aaron Rodgers is going to struggle, and the same fickle New York Jets fans who hated Zach Wilson are going to cry for him to come back, and they're going to go 10-7. But Zach Wilson's going to end up finishing the end of the year for Rodgers. But that's just my opinion. So
I can't stand Zach Wilson though. I mean, I'm not a Jets fan, I'm not a Rodgers fan, but Zach Wilson is for the birds. But I'll take Mike White though.
Mike White's with the Dolphins now, by the way. He's
Zach
not with
Wilson
the Jets
can-
anymore.
Who's behind Zach Wilson?
Zach Wilson can take a long fuck up for.
I think it's Chris Stravler, but I'm not sure. I'm just going to say Chris
Perfect.
Stravler or something like that.
He'll be there. But I agree with you. That is why I put the Jets third, because I hypothesized that Rodgers could struggle there and or get injured because he's an old man. And I have a lot of confidence in the Dolphins, and the Bills are sort of dead giveaway. So I'm with you on that.
Yeah, plus me being the Bills guy, we're motivated. We're PO about losing to Cincinnati, and this is our first year where we're going to look to win the Super Bowl, but it's also the first year of building a new building that's going to be going across the street, a new shiny new toy on Christmas in 2026, the new $1.5 billion Highmark Stadium that's going to be opening in 3 years. But let's get those three. Let's win 3 consecutive Super Bowls from 2023 to 2025, and then we could take those 3 into the new stadium before we get there. Anyway.
Well, I felt like they've been really, really strong contenders. It just hasn't quite fallen into place for them yet, but they've been really up there, and it's only a matter of time before it's their time to shine in the Super Bowl.
They've been typical Buffalo. Typical Buffalo is what they've been.
Man, right?
So you mean in terms of like where they went 17 years without the playoffs, and then now they're in the playoffs again, and they're still looking to win it like the 90s. That's what you're trying to say, Ryan, right? You're trying to balance those two. I get it.
They've been good for a couple of years
No,
now.
what I'm saying is,
Wait, go ahead, Ryan.
what I'm trying to say is, they're a parody of what, like they're a direct resemblance of what the 90s Bills were. Those 4 straight Super Bowls, that's exactly what they look like. It's just they're now doing Buffalo things from that 17-year drought in the playoffs, where it all comes together for a season, and then they get the playoffs, and then they look like 2015 Buffalo Bills. You know what I mean?
I think they look good. They just, you ran into Joe Burrow, you've ran into Patrick Mahomes, like these are.
Yeah, exactly.
Lacey says
And it's the little
It's
things
not
that
like
are getting them.
It's not like we lost to any in the playoffs though, except maybe Houston with Deshaun Watson. It's not like we lost to anybody that was shocking if you think about it. So but that's how the playoffs work anyway.
Well, I'm
now-
just saying it's
sometimes you just have to
the
ignore
little
Ryan.
things that are getting you. Is what I'm saying.
Funny, Julie.
Sometimes you just have to ignore Julie too.
No.
Funny, Ryan. Anyway, Caleb, what do you think about the predictions of the AFC East?
Oh, I imagine the Bills will be a top again. I don't think it would be as convincingly. I think it's going to be a lot tighter race this year, but probably Miami second. Jets be nipping at their heels. I think that the East probably takes 3 teams in that division to the playoffs. then obviously that leaves the Pats. But I don't think the Patriots would be terrible necessarily. I just don't think that they're as good. NFC East, I'm going to throw a wild card in here. I'm going to go Philly top. I'm going to go the Commanders second, the Giants, and that's it. No,
You get the
You think
Cowboys
Dallas is
right?
finishing last?
Dallas. I think they
Even
could.
with Deuce Vaughn, though,
You think Dallas is finishing last?
And
I think
Tony
that-
Pollard.
I think Deuce Vaughn is going to carry
Right.
that team on his
Now-
tiny
My
little back.
goodness.
Here's what he's saying though. You're saying last, right? But is it last place? But they go 9-8 or 8-9,
I
kind of
think
like the Patriots last place, where they're still winning 9 or 8 games with that team.
That's what I'm
That's the
getting.
thing.
I'm not saying Dallas is going to win 5 games this year. I think that they're going to win. They'll be around 500, but Philly is entirely too good. I think that Sam Howell is going to surprise a lot of guys, and that team is pretty good. If you really look at that roster, it's pretty. The Giants, that coaching staff is ridiculous. I think that the Giants, Cowboys, and Commanders will all finish within a game of each other.
Caleb. I'm the Bills fan here. You know why that coaching staff's ridiculous?
I know. I ain't got to tell you, brother.
He learned from the best, basically, and so did Joe Shane. He learned from Brandon Beane on how to run a show there, which is good. So
I think Jalen Hyatt on that team is going to be huge. So you got Darren Waller. Yeah, Saquon is pissed off, and I mean, I'm not a Daniel Jones guy at all. I think he's really kind of terrible, but he's good enough, I think, to manage everything around him. And then offensive line did well. So pretty much be up to their defense to hang on tight.
he is an underrated athlete, though. A lot of people don't think Daniel Jones can run, but last year he surprised everybody. Like Dable actually used him kind of like a Josh Allen, where he had 700 yards. He had 700 yards rushing, which is not great, but for him, that's not bad. I mean, like Dable utilized his running ability more than the other coaches did. So
Yeah. I think that's the thing is, like, if Dable's good at using him for the things that he can do, and which I think most coaches should try and do. And so I think, like, we're seeing the very, very best of Daniel Jones right now, and I think he could surprise us a little bit. But I'm also not a fan at all. But
As long as Saquon's on the field, I think they'll be okay.
and Saquon did the right thing. He's mad, but he said, "I'm just going to take the 1-year deal because I want to play. That's all I care about. I'm wealthy enough from my rookie contract that I can play with this 1-year deal for now and everything." And that's the topic of running backs and everything. A lot of these running backs are realizing now that they're already making pretty good money on their first year rookie contracts, and they don't really need to get paid a second contract unless you're Christian McCaffrey, which is an exception to the rule. But they're already wealthy from that, so they can take just a 1-year deal and say, I can play on that. I can take the money and go after that and still have a good career. And it saves salary cap money too, which is good.
do you want to play against an angry Saquon? Like,
And we saw what happened.
Go ahead, Ryan.
Go ahead, Ryan.
No, I'm just saying, we saw what happened to Lev Bell when he sat out for a year. I mean,
Yeah.
he came back after that and didn't look the same after.
And now he has an OnlyFans, so
Yeah.
that's how that story went.
Too bad. That guy was a beast with
There you go.
Pittsburgh.
There's our.
Was
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
But hey, it's
He
a
was-
new
he was in
era,
a odd
and
segment of the week for
GMs are
Kevin Kirk.
realizing, hey, why waste your salary cap money and pay a running back a 2nd-year contract when they're basically a dime a dozen position, and then you can go and spend it on corners, and you could spend it on your corners, which you absolutely need on defense, your linebackers and your quarterback, which is more important. That's why. So anyway, I really appreciate having you guys all on my show this week, and you're all welcome back anytime. But before we're coming down to the end of our show, this is our segment where we ask our guests about where we can find them in the social media world. So, Julie, tell us, where can we find you in the world of social media today?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram and Twitter as It's Miller Crime. For anybody who's knows beer, it used to be It's Miller Time, but since I'm a true crime enthusiast, it's Miller Crime. It's great, I know. And then also you can catch me. I'm the star of our podcast every week on the Forkball. So you can catch me there. I'm most active on Twitter, but yeah, that's where you can see me.
Caleb, you want to go next?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter at @thecap11. You see me probably engaging in fights with entire fan bases quite often, namely the White Sox and Green Bay Packers. So that's what I do on my spare time around here.
Okay, yep. And Raya, where can we find
Caleb just had a fight with you.
What?
You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Twitter at BeesKnees97.
Was Z's not?
You can also find me looking at Caleb's. You can also find me scrolling through Caleb's tweets about what a deep crosser is and what a shallow crosser is, because those are always fun to look at. Also, check out our YouTube page, our YouTube channel, The Forkball. So you can watch every episode, every minute of the Tailgate Update. Julie has beautiful true crime segments. And crack open a six pack with us.
We had the Pete Rose Ball giveaway yesterday. We gave it away in a raffle, and my cats did the entire video. And of course, they're fantastic, and I am an over-enthusiastic stage mom, so it was amazing. 48 seconds of cinematic glory. So, if you only got a minute. Yes.
Okay, yeah, thank you guys. And now you can follow yours truly at Bill's Chat 1, at Bill's Mafia Chat, and also at Jamie Malloy, the unbiased journalist, at DJ Dog Tags on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. And you can also find me at DefiantTakesFootball.com, which Julie and I write for. And for Defiant Takes Football, I cover the Bills, Syracuse football, and spring football. I also write for FanBuzz.com about, and I also do that with Julie. And together there, we write about G5 college football. And don't forget, folks, week 0 of the college football season starts this Saturday, August 26th. We got 7 awesome games, so make sure you tune in. Thank you very much for listening. And remember, folks, we can argue about who's the star of our podcast. We can argue about what others think about each other. We can gripe about one particular Lions fan saying that Jared Goff is better than Josh Allen. But remember, folks, as the great Chris Berman used to say, nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. See you next time, folks.
Thanks, Jamie.
Bye. Thanks, Sam. Can't wait to have you on our podcast, too.
All right.
To rock this